When it comes to saving money, one of the minimalist habits that I've found most helpful is the practice of creating a no-buy list at the start of each year. So that's why in today's video, I'm sharing this list of 25 things that I'm not buying in 2025. As I mentioned in last week's video, my husband and I are planning to do a low-buy year with the goal of spending less, saving more money, and reducing clutter in our home. And considering that over 90% of you said that you also want to buy less and save more money in 2025, I'd love to hear what you're putting on your list as well. So if you're planning a no buy or low buy year, be sure to leave me a comment down below to let me know some of the things that you're not buying this year so that we can stay inspired and cheer each other on. I always look forward to reading your comments. Now, on to the first thing that I'm not buying on this list, which is that I'm not buying into other people's opinions on what my home should or shouldn't look like. I decided to start with this item because I got a comment on one of my videos the other day that said, "No art on the walls, not even 124 by 36 canvas, ridiculous." To which I felt compelled to respond that we had only moved into this house 3 months ago, and as a minimalist family have been practicing slow decorating. But then other minimalists were chiming in down in the comments to make the excellent point that no matter how long you've lived in a place, it's always up to you how you decorate it or choose not to decorate it. Anytime you're part of a countercultural movement like minimalism or participating in a low buy or no buy year, that's bound to rub some people the wrong way. And you are going to hear opinions from other people about your choices. And so you really need to be clear on what your goals and priorities are and what you're trying to accomplish in your home and really be strong enough to stick to that. I stopped taking other people's opinions into consideration a long time ago when it comes to my home because they're not the ones who have to be cleaning and managing it on a day-to-day basis. So why would I listen to what they have to say at all? So if you're planning a low buy or a no buy year, I would also encourage you to stop buying into other people's opinions as well. Next up, number 2 on this list of things that I'm not going to be buying is I'm not going to be paying for a kitchen renovation in 2025. I have to admit that I think that I got a little bit brainwashed by all of the white and modern kitchens that I've seen over the years. And when we were first touring this house, I saw the red oak cabinets and the blue backsplash in our kitchen. And I thought to myself that I was going to swap that out for maybe white oak cabinets and a white backsplash. But I'm so thankful that we like to take things slow when it comes to designing and decorating our home, because once we got moved into this home and I started using that kitchen, I actually fell deeply in love with the warmth of the red oak cabinets, and that blue backsplash reminds me of mermaid scales, and it always makes me smile when I'm cutting vegetables and preparing dinner in my kitchen. The only thing that we did do recently is we did switch out the cabinet poles on all of the various cabinets and drawers because some of them had gotten worn off. The black had gotten worn off after many, many years of use. So we swapped out the old cabinet poles for some newer and fresher and more modern ones that I think fit in better with the kitchen. So not doing any major renovations on our kitchen will save us a ton of money and help our kitchen maintain its mid-century modern charm that fits in so well with the rest of the home. Next up, I'm going to be using the rule of 5, and I'm not going to be buying more than 5 items of clothing in 2025, which is a slow fashion and sustainability rule that comes from a Berlin-based think tank that concluded that if we want to limit global warming, we need to cut down the number of new clothing items we acquire each year down to 5 items. I actually came close to meeting this goal last year, but then after we moved to a new climate where there are bigger swings in temperature, both on the hot end and the cold end, and then also I lost some weight, I ended up buying 7 items of clothing last year, one of which was from a thrift store. So this year in 2025, I just want to be a little bit better with that and only acquire 5 items total. And that counts for both new purchases and thrift store purchases, because as a minimalist, I don't want to clutter up my wardrobe too much, but I am finding that there's some items that are getting worn out and need replaced probably in the near future. And then also some that I am just not wearing enough to justify keeping. And I am planning on doing a wardrobe decluttering video in the near future, so make sure that you're subscribed with all notifications turned on if you don't want to miss out on that. Item number 4 is I'm not going to be buying any jeans, whether that's new or thrifted jeans in 2025. I actually owned, I cannot say that word today. Owned. Ugh, blah, blah. I actually owned, why can I not say that word? Owned. I actually owned only one pair of jeans for many, many years. I think that 5 to 7 years, I only had one pair of jeans in my wardrobe. But then last year, because I had lost some weight, I ended up buying a pair of skinny jeans that I found at the thrift store. So now I have a dark pair of tighter fitting jeans, as well as a lighter wash pair of jeans that's high waisted and bigger at the bottom, that I'm wearing right now, as you can see. So I think that between those two pairs of jeans, I've pretty well got all of my bases covered, and I don't need to be buying any more jeans this year. Another specific clothing item that I'm not going to be purchasing is I'm not going to be purchasing any new bikinis or bathing suits. Last year, I ended up decluttering an ill-fitting and somewhat worn out orange bikini, and what I swapped out for that was this one-piece black swimsuit that you see here, that's got a little bit of ruching in the middle and just really fits nicely, and I feel much more comfortable in. So that is my leisure bathing suit, if we can call it that. And then I also have a sport swimsuit that is a black Speedo, because I do swimming with my boys. I train them in swimming myself, and then they also belong to a swim team. And while they are swimming, I will also be doing laps and things to get exercise. So I have this, and then I also bought a pair of black yoga pants that I wear on the bottom of this, which is something that I used to do in high school too. So these are called drag shorts, to make me work harder and kind of slow me down so that I have to push harder while I'm swimming. And it also helps hide my booty a little bit more, because the Speedo is somewhat like high cut on the sides. So I think that between these 3 bathing suits, I've pretty much got all my bathing suit needs covered. Another thing that I'm not going to be buying is anything from websites like Shein or Temu, especially Temu. You would not believe how many emails I get from Temu representatives who want to send me products or pay me to sponsor videos on my channel. And I'm just like, did you read what my channel is about at all? Not only are websites like this bad for the environment, but they also have some really questionable practices around privacy and data that I just want absolutely no part of. So I will be opting out of using those websites, as I always have as a minimalist, and continue that in the year ahead. A couple more things that I won't be spending money on in the year ahead include buying new jewelry, paying for nail care products and or services, or buying new makeup and or skincare products. All of these things kind of fall under the umbrella category of things that I already am satisfied with and therefore don't need to buy more of, especially when it comes to things like nail care. I'm very low maintenance. All I do is I just clean underneath my nails and clip them occasionally, and that's it. So I don't feel compelled to go out and get manicures, pedicures, or anything like that. And the same thing goes for number 10 on this list, which is that I'm not going to be buying any hair dye or highlights for my hair. I haven't dyed my hair in years, and I was kind of questioning whether or not I was going to start, because I am starting to get some white hairs. I feel like you can't even really see the grays at all. But other than my annual haircut, I'm not going to be spending money on things like dye or highlights for my hair. Number 11 on this list is anti-aging products. And I just turned 42 at the end of last year. And I think I've gotten to that age where advertisers are starting to market anti-aging products to me hard. Like super hard. Whether it's on Instagram or YouTube or even just listening to music on Spotify, I'm seeing and hearing anti-aging products popping up everywhere. I think that I might have a slightly different perspective on this compared to most people because to me, aging is a privilege, and it's a privilege that my mother didn't get to experience because she passed away when she was only 39 years old due to cancer. And also, my father passed away when he was 53 after a long battle with alcoholism. And to me, just being able to be healthy and get older is such a huge privilege, and I'm not going to take that for granted. So that's why I'm not going to be purchasing any anti-aging products. The 12th thing that I'm not going to be buying is I'm going to try not to buy any cute or nostalgic products for myself. And I think that a lot of people might be surprised to hear this from me as a minimalist, but I am actually really, really susceptible to falling into impulse purchases over cute or nostalgic items. And it's something that I really have to pay attention to and control. So, for example, for Christmas, I got my boys the cutest little stuffed animals. I mean, look at this axolotl. Look at his cute little face. How can you resist buying a face like this? Okay, literally, as I was in the middle of editing this video, I had to go to Target and I happened upon their Lunar New Year section and I found the most adorable snake pillow. And for those of you who don't know, this year is the year of the snake in the Chinese calendar. So I had to restrain myself from buying it, and I will be putting that in my impulse buy tracker. There's just something about stuffed animals and pillows shaped like animals or characters from shows or things like anything related to anime or Studio Ghibli that I just find super, super hard to resist. I have to rein myself in all the time not to be spending money on those things because most of the time I know that I really don't want or need them. Number 13 is new pots and pans. Now that I've gotten all of the bases covered for basically any kind of cuisine I would want to make, whether that's steaming Chinese buns in our large steamer, or making Dutch babies, or pot roast in our Le Creuset pot that I purchased on sale last year, I'm really, really happy with what we have now, and I don't need to purchase anymore unless for some reason it would break or get cracked or something and need to be replaced. Floor rugs are another thing that I'm going to be avoiding purchasing, and as a minimalist, this is just something that I prefer not to have because I feel like it just adds extra cleaning to your list of responsibilities. But there are times when I feel like a floor rug is necessary in certain rooms of the home. I purchased a small circular rug for our bedroom because I have my desk in there with a rolling swivel chair and I didn't really want the wheels scuffing up the floor. So I purchased a small circular rug to put underneath that. And then we also purchased a rug for upstairs in our boys' playroom for when they're playing with Legos and other toys on the floor so that they're comfortable in there. And then we also purchased a rug for our living room that I think looks amazing, but we found sheds terribly. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed that the shedding on that rug will get a little bit better going forward because it really, really does look good and it helps us cut back on the echoes there. But I'm pretty happy with the amount of rugs that we have now, and I don't foresee that we need to get any more new ones going forward. Number 15 is couch pillows, and this is one of those situations where I want to try to use what we already have. So when we had purchased our mattresses, we got one king size for our main bedroom and then two mattresses for the boys' room upstairs. We also ended up getting, along with our purchase, four pillows for free. But what we found when we opened one of these was that they were just a little bit too fat for our kids to use because kids are supposed to have flatter pillows. And also, it just wasn't the kind of pillow that my husband or I like. So I was trying to think what I could do with this. And then I had the brainstorm that maybe I could find some kind of cover where I could cover this up and we could use it instead of on our bed as a throw pillow on our couch. So if you have any ideas where I can find pillow covers or some kind of hack for that, drop me a comment below and let me know because I think that that would work out really, really well and I can repurpose these for use on the couch. Hi there, Editing Marissa here, and I'm just a little bit embarrassed to admit that for the next 9 items, I spent a good 30 minutes talking to the camera without realizing that my microphone's battery had gone dead. Now, I could have just continued to do this video with B-roll and voiceover as I'm going to going forward, but in the spirit of transparency, I figured this was the perfect opportunity to demonstrate that just because we make mistakes, that doesn't mean that we have to let our mistakes make us. One of my mantras for 2025 is imperfect action makes things happen. So if you're just as committed as I am to taking imperfect action towards your dreams and goals in the year ahead, please be sure and give this video a big thumbs up and stick around until the end of the video where I share number 25 face to face, as well as one of my top tips for keeping your spending habits in check without feeling like you're depriving yourself during a low buy or no buy year. And with that, let's move on to number 16 on this list, which is that I'm not going to be buying any more large items of furniture. So, as part of moving into a new house, we did have to acquire a lot of large furniture pieces, such as our dining room table and chairs, couches, beds, etc. And initially, we were thinking to purchase some other large furniture items, such as a sleeper sofa for our upstairs playroom slash guest room and a bookshelf for our living room. However, we weren't really able to find pieces that we liked enough to pull the trigger on buying for those spaces. So instead, for guests, we purchased an air mattress that we've already used when my sister and nephew came to visit. And then for books, I'm just using a simple basket in the corner with the rest of the books that don't fit in the basket stacked beside it. And so we've decided to hold off on purchasing those furniture items for a year. Along with larger furniture, we're also not going to be buying nightstands for our bedroom. This is something that we haven't owned for many, many years, and we're going to continue that tradition in our new bedroom. However, no by number 18 is brand new to us, and that is pre-packaged tea bags. So both my husband and I happened across articles the other day that found that pre-packaged tea bags can release billions of microplastics into the liquid that you're drinking. So we've decided that once we use up the pre-packaged tea bags that we already have, we're going to switch over to loose leaf tea. So be sure and drop your recommendations for brands and flavors down in the comment section below for me. And along the same lines, number 19 is candles and air fresheners. And initially, this is something that I didn't buy simply because I found that I never ended up using these items and they would just collect dust in cabinets, drawers, or over in the corner. But I've also read research recently that says that these release harmful chemicals and pollutants into the air that you breathe. And so, those are just a few of the reasons that I'm not going to be purchasing those. Next up, number 20 is tips for self service. And I think that when people hear this, they think that I'm a huge cheapskate and I never tip anyone, but it's actually quite the opposite. And I'm an extremely generous tipper when it comes to services such as getting waited on at a restaurant or paying the person who cut my hair at the salon. But when it comes to things like going through a drive through, for example, or standing in line at Chipotle or Starbucks and then they ask if you want to leave a tip. In those situations, I'm not going to leave a tip. And I also refuse to spend money on food delivery fees, especially services like Uber Eats or DoorDash. They really inflate the price of your food just for the convenience of having it ordered and delivered to your home. And so this is something that I never ever pay for because instead I would either rather have the experience of going out to a nice restaurant, or if we wanted to order food for takeout, we would choose a restaurant that's close enough to us that we could go and pick it up ourselves, which is still cheaper than ordering it for delivery, whether it's through an app or in service delivery services. Number 23 is plastic or reusable bags. And I think that plastic bags are just a given, especially for a minimalist family. But as far as reusable bags, I don't need to buy any more this year because I've accumulated quite the collection, including a thermal insulated DoorDash pizza bag that I got from the local Papa John's for free when I was waiting for our pizzas one day. And I was just chatting with the guy there, and he was like, "Hey, do you want one of these for free?" And I was like, "Heck yeah." But I think at this point, I've amassed enough of a collection that I not only don't need to purchase bags, I should also not accept free bags going forward. Number 24 is cable TV, which is something that I haven't paid for over a decade now. So that's not about to change in 2025. And finally, number 25 on this list is new books and audiobooks. So, one of the goals that I set for myself in 2025 is to read more. But as I mentioned in my last video about how to prep for a low buy year, I've set rules around that so I'm not overspending and buying more books than I can keep up with. I actually sat down and created a list for this, and I have 5 books and audiobooks that I own and still need to finish reading or listening to, as well as 2 books that I've borrowed from the library. So I feel like between all of those books and audiobooks, I'm set for at least the next 6 months. And then after that, I'm going to focus on borrowing what I can from the library and purchasing a maximum of 1 book or audiobook a month, only if I can't borrow it first. Creating lists and setting rules like this are a great way to keep your spending habits in check without feeling like you're depriving yourself. And if you want to find out how to plan a successful no buy or low buy year, make sure and go check out this video, or I'll see you next week. Until then, take care. Bye bye.